Commissioners. My name's Bill Zoller, and I have been sworn.
You did sign the card, right?
And I signed the card, yeah. I was going to talk about this, but pleased to see that on the little brochure, the How We Got Here thing, because I participated in the RU20, the Rural Lands workshops, all the RU27 workshops, hearings. I was one of the founders of the multi-stakeholder group, participated in the ULI interviews, and then participated in 2050 over all of those years. And I'm not the only one. Many others did the same thing. We've been part of the process since the beginning. And when this talk of this process came about, we read and we heard that a group of 8 or 10 or 12, whatever it was, developers had been meeting with staff and gone over a list of various and sundry things that would help make 2050 work for them. And it needed to be more flexible, it needed to have this, it needed to have tweaking and this and that. Those of us who did spend time from rural lands workshops through the process were not invited to a similar meeting with the county. We had, and I think they had 10 or 12 meetings. No one asked the other citizens to participate in what we thought needed either to be tweaked or not tweaked. So there was a fundamental imbalance that inserted into the process with the county and staff at that point. Listening to all the comments tonight, and I'm thinking, what is the Planning Commission going to do with all this stuff they've heard? They're not going to get into the weeds and start going over every little piece of that. Then it occurred to me that the county spent a couple $1 million, I believe was the amount, on Gladding-Jackson, hired the professional planning firm to do 2050. So then I start to wonder, well, what's the reason the county did not bring Gladding-Jackson back to do some of this work? They're the experts. We have staff, but if staff was that expert, why didn't they do 2050 instead of spending $2 million or whatever on Gladding-Jackson? There's something wrong with the process, never mind all the details like you've heard tonight. So my question to you, or my recommendation, or what I would encourage you to do or ask you to do, is work on the process. This thing is really a disaster waiting to happen. And you could just say, oh, well, shove it off to the county commission. But you are the local planning agency. You are the LPA. You're designated. You have an official role. It's your job, in fact, to do comp plan amendments. That's your job, not just to sit here and listen to a room full of us screech on. Your job is to do this, to bring them forward. And so I would recommend that this process needs to take a step back. I would hope that Gladding-Jackson would be brought in. You heard the testimony from Victor about comments his brother said. This is sort of a disaster. The public is not happy. If this goes to the county commission and gets through, there are going to be a few happy people and a huge community of unhappy people who feel betrayed. The fact is, 2050 was a deal. 2050 was a compromise from day one. We had all sides came together and agreed on what 2050 needed to do for this county. And now we have one side of that big group who has come in and said, we want to renege. And the other side really wasn't asked, or all the other sides, to even get in on the conversation until after that conversation had happened. So this process is wrong. It's just flat wrong. The workshops, the little walkabouts that the staff held were meaningless, really. We could all walk around, look at things, and write a few comments, but that was meaningless. I would urge you, as the Planning Commission, to recommend getting professional planners back in here and work with the community the same way you worked on 2050 in the first place, because this is a travesty.